So, The Last of Us Part 2, a game that somehow broke the internet harder than Cyberpunk 2077's launch day, and sent half the gaming community into a rage spiral that would make Kratos blush. Look, I get it. You love Joel, I love Joel. He was the gravelly voiced grumpy dad simulator we didn't know we needed, the kind of guy who teaches you how to craft a shiv, and trauma bond over fungal zombies, a beautiful man. But here's the thing, killing Joel wasn't a betrayal. It wasn't bad writing. It wasn't a woke agenda delivered by some hidden cabal of soy-sipping writers bent on destroying masculinity. No, it was storytelling. Risky, brutal, uncomfortable, and human. Joel Miller was a violent man who made a selfish choice at the end of the first game and TV series. A beautiful, emotionally resonant choice, yes, but one with consequences. The kind of consequences that don't just disappear because you're a fan favourite with a deluxe beard and a southern drawl smoother than whiskey. But Joel would never trust strangers! This is character assassination! First of all, calm down, Giga Chad of narrative consistency. Joel's mellowed. It's been years. He's been living in a semi-functional commune singing Pearl Jam songs and raising Ellie. He's older. He's tired. He's not John Wick. He's a dad. And dads make dumb decisions, usually involving power tools or strangers with cute smiles and sob stories. And let's not forget, Joel's 62 at this point. He's not peak apocalypse badass anymore. The man we met in The Last of Us Part 1 was already carrying 20 years of trauma. By Part 2, the wear and tear starts to show. This moment isn't just about him letting his guard down. It's about him being human. Not a superhero, not invincible, just a man trying to do the right thing one last time. That doesn't make it weak. That makes it tragic, earned, painful, and narratively sound, in my opinion. Alright. Let's just rip the band-aid off. The Fireflies. They weren't the good guys. Look, Abby's entire arc is built on revenge. She's blinded by rage. She sees Joel as the monster who took her father away, and that's fair enough, through her eyes. But here's where it falls apart, and where the game and series both miss an opportunity. Her father, the noble, hypocritic, life-saving surgeon, yeah, he's about to murder a child. A drug child who hadn't even been asked if she wanted to sacrifice herself for any consent at all. They lied to Ellie. They took her, said she'd be fine, and that they were just running tests. That's not saving the world. That's medical murder. That's stripping away someone's agency, their right to choose, because you think the mission is more important than their life. You think she would have said yes? Cool. Ask her. You didn't. You knocked her out and you started prepping the scalpel. And that's the hypocrisy nobody wants to talk about. Abby and the Fireflies think they were righteous, but they were so deep into their crusade they became the very monsters they claimed to fight. Okay, let's switch this round. If that was Abby on the table, you think her dad would have sharpened the scalpel with a smile? Hell no! He would have turned the world to ash to save her, the same way Joel did. And Joel? He saw what was happening. He snapped back into the version of himself that survives. Brutal, efficient, unrelenting. And he saves his daughter. In that moment, Ellie was his daughter, and he wasn't about to let her die for a cause built on the assumptions and lies. Was it selfish? Maybe. But was it wrong? No. So when Abby finally confronts Joel, when she rage baits him before killing him like it's a speech from 300, the audience is meant to feel like Joel's the villain. But that's the trick. That's the lie. That's Abby's delusion. Joel isn't the bad guy here. He's not the hero either. He's a man who made a choice, a justified choice, to save a child from being sacrificed without her consent. And the people who wanted to kill Ellie, the ones pretending to be noble, they were no better than the cordyceps that were trying to cure. And in saving Ellie, Joel rediscovered something he'd lost. His humanity. And that's the true tragedy here, because the moment he found it again, it left him vulnerable, weak, a dad. Now let's talk some Abby. Yes, she's built like she powerbombs bloaters for breakfast, although I'll admit not in the TV series. She looks a bit like a snowflake. I don't know why she's not built like what she should be. But yes, she murders Joel with a golf club like it's the Masters. But her arc, it's a mirror. She's not a villain, she's Ellie's reflection. Both driven by vengeance, both losing parts of themselves to it. It's poetic, tragic, beautifully symmetrical. People scream that the story forced them to sympathise with the enemy. But guess what? That's the point. It's a story about how hate perpetuates hate, a vicious cycle where nobody wins. Unless you're Naughty Dog's mocap team, in which case, congrats on the Emmy. And here's the kicker. The game dares to make you uncomfortable. It doesn't coddle you. It doesn't feed you expectations like a spoonful of safe, franchise-friendly oatmeal. It throws you into a blender of emotional carnage and asks, do you still want revenge now that it hurts? But it's not that fun. I didn't feel empowered. Wah! That's because this isn't God of War. It's The Road meets Schindler's List, with a side of clickers. It's not meant to empower you. It's meant to challenge you, to bruise you, like art sometimes should. Killing Joel wasn't lazy writing. It was the inciting incident. It was the emotional grenade that forced us to confront what Ellie had become, and whether we, the player, were truly ready to follow her down the path. After following the characters through their journeys in part 2, it really makes those scenes afterwards hit harder. You know, when it cuts to Ellie alone on the farm, with the empty guitar. That scene, the silence, that's the sound of consequence, of a story daring to go further than most games would ever dream. It was a masterpiece. So no, I don't hate The Last of Us Part 2. I respect it. It swung for the emotional fences and shattered a few ribs along the way, but it made me feel something real, and sometimes that's worth more than another safe, sequel farming cash cow. Joel's death wasn't a betrayal, it was the cost of love in a broken world. Also, let's be honest, if you had done what he did in the hospital, you'd be a boss fight in the sequel too. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Like, comment, sub if you hated this, double sub if you really hated it. This has been Shay Rance, the guy who loves to talk all things pop culture, geek, nerd, and everything else. Also, I'm a fan of Batman vs Superman.